Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be, and welcome to a bit of a whimsical post on the theogony of Napoleon Dynamite. I like to explore nonsensical territory, so if you like silly yet surprising pop culture associative reasoning, this post is for you. In Napoleon Dynamite, we see a picture of a world that may never have existed. Set in the same 1980s flyover country in which I grew up, we see an artistic reflection of the past that offers commentary on what the future might look like. History rhymes, after all, and what we choose to remember and forget shapes the future. All films are a form of propaganda, and I like to be aware of the intent of the authors. Jared and Jerusha Hess grew up in flyover country in the US, so they seem legit. They also made a film called Gentlemen Broncos about a young writer who, after entering his story in a competition, finds that his idea has been stolen by an established novelist. If you'd like the story of how this also happened to me, please read my article on the fake economies of the internet. But if you'd rather think a bit more about Napoleon Dynamite, please continue watching this video. Processed food is a central character in the world of Napoleon Dynamite, and the film features a cast of characters with very limited intelligence. This cryptically suggests that these characters have been poisoned by their food, limiting their ability to fully embody the many dimensions of human experience. In a film featuring smart people, we would typically see an exploration of the complexity of an individual character's soul. But in Napoleon Dynamite, we see each character represent a specific, limited, simple quality in a sort of trinity. The father loves technology, and he longs for his soulmate LaFwanda. The son dances for his friend and wants someone to play tetherball with him. The Holy Ghost is a Tupperware gigolo who yearns to return to his youth. The female characters exhibit a similar tripartite structure. The mother loves her pets and her babies, the llama. The girl loves to create art, and LaFonda loves to love her man. I love a film that tells me something about who I am, and to the extent that I have masculine and feminine traits, I see all of these people within me. I see that their dreams and identities fit together in a complementary structure which defines their reality. They each play the role required of them by their environment. Yet, who is Pedro within this scheme? He is somehow separate, over and above. I think he represents something greater. Pedro loves the narcissistic blonde girl Summer, and he runs against her for the office of class president. His campaign slogans are, "Pedro offers you his protection," and "Vote for Pedro and all of your dreams will come true." This rings true because if the students had voted for the narcissistic blonde girl, her dreams would have come true, not theirs. She would have hypnotized them with her magnificence and prevented them from coming up with their own dreams, whereas President Pedro fades into the background and offers nothing more than safety. In a theological sense, perhaps the choice between him and the blonde girl represents the transition from older religions based upon worship of a pantheon of narcissistic divinities that all compete to dominate your attention, towards a modern monotheistic religion in which God is more masculine and less demanding of our tributes. He only wants people to respect him and be good to one another. Pedro represents the oneness of a masculine God in heaven, whereas the tripartite soul of God is embodied on earth through Napoleon, Napoleon's father, and the Tupperware salesman gigolo. Summer represents the oneness of a feminine goddess in heaven, whereas the tripartite soul of the goddess is embodied on earth through the mother who loves Alama, the girl who takes photos, and lovely LaFonda. These supersymmetric structures must balance one another out, cosmically speaking, and in terms of physics as well, I'm sure. And they can be explained in simple terms, but if you prefer complexity, you might instead end up studying something like Gell-Mann's Eightfold Path and come to a similar conclusion. Viewed from a more cynical vantage, as in the popular Netflix show Afterlife, the story of Napoleon Dynamite offers us a vision of a world in which men have been poisoned or damaged to the point that they are rather stupid on average, yet women still love them. The story shows us that a man must not be all things to all people. He just has to play the role that suits him and that contributes to greater balance in an absolute sense. This perspective rejects relativistic conceptions of morality and physics, because if everything is relative over a longer time scale, something that seemed evil might become good. That was certainly Hitler's logic, and that is why I think it is good to default to the categorical imperative, Kant's logic, since none of us can predict the future in detail. If you don't remember, the categorical imperative is act as if the maxims of your action were to become, through your will, a universal law of nature. It is in some way a corollary of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If we look at the laws of nature, we see that the uncertainty principle tells us that in a trade-off between space and time, the velocity determines how much of a mistake one might make by assuming a relative perspective rather than an absolute one. In terms of morality, the faster a situation is evolving, the bigger our mistakes might be. Because we can never fully access an absolute perspective, taking things slowly is wise, and slowness is something that the characters in Napoleon Dynamite are good at. Thank you for watching this meandering chain of logic. I hope it sparked something for you, some of your own meanderings, and I encourage you to check out the other videos. They have a similarly sparky effect. Until next time.